my wonderful friend, it's your boy King Gabriel again, and I'm here for another impromptu video. Today's question is forgiveness really useful? Now, forgiveness itself is correctly identified as of the ego. It's the ego construct, and it takes place within consciousness, right? And it is an illusion, because in reality there can be no one to forgive. There is only one, and we know that to be reality at this point, or most of us do. So forgiveness itself is an illusion, but it's useful. And why is it useful? Because when we're in human consciousness, it is detrimental to the human being to have the idea that something is wrong based on the past, or that they're guilty, or they're walking around thinking that they're bad. You know, when a person, a human being, thinks that he or she is bad, then the actions that come from that person are sort of expected to be bad. They do bad things and they don't take it as a big deal, because it's like, well, this is the best I can do. That's the saying that comes forth from a being like that. And they start to see themselves as dark. And it's almost like a container in consciousness for darkness, right? And darkness is not real, but darkness can be experienced by a person who believes in darkness, because the same power that would be used to see the light and accept the light would then be used to, in a sense, mask that light and act out of accordance with the light, which would be identified as darkness, and that person would see themselves as bad. So forgiveness itself is the tool that allows that person to once again identify the light within and be able to see the light in others as well and act accordingly. And that realigns the person to fall into that state of peace, right? That state of connectivity, which then brings love into the equation, right? That unity. So it is almost detrimental to someone who's in human consciousness. So I know people think that they're way far down on their spiritual journey and they say forgiveness is not needed, nobody needs forgiveness. But those same people that say that, if they end up in a situation where something bad happens, or they are the cause of something bad, they would want to have that forgiveness take place so they can have a clean slate to restart. Or at least if they had any sense of progressing in any way spiritually, they would want that to be there. So yes, forgiveness is necessary for human consciousness, but once we step into the realm of divine consciousness and universal consciousness, it is in a sense useless, because there is no one to be forgiven there. So if someone does really reside in that state and holds that state continuously, they will not need forgiveness, because they understand that all forgiveness is self-forgiveness. By forgiving the self of whatever error that may have been in the past, or whatever thoughts may have been there that led to those errors, then that person is once again free. And it's about vibration. It's not so much about whether you're really right or wrong. And I'm going to say something now that might agree or disagree with many people, but so it is what it is, right? And I'm going to say it as it is. The vibration that you hold is what's important, right? It's not about whether you're actually right or wrong, because all illusion is illusion. It's not like that's going to change. We prefer certain illusions from human consciousness. So we like those things around us because they tend to make us feel good as human beings in human consciousness. But above that, where everything is meaningless, everything is just energy, there is no good or bad. So it's just about, really and truly, what do you prefer to experience, right? And in that preference of experience, there is the need to recognize oneself as good in order to be at the vibration that allows everything to be yours. And for everything to be yours, you have to recognize that you're one with everything. The only way that can happen is if you're vibrating at that frequency. If you're not, and you allow yourself to drop because of all the things that you take on in terms of guilt, then you don't give yourself everything because you don't feel deserving of it, and you don't allow yourself to unite with the one, right? And that frequency is a frequency that's actually high for us. And to get to that frequency, we have to release all guilt, all shame, all this thing called sin that people have made up, right? We do have to let that go. And sin is just error, really, at the end of the day. We make errors, and sometimes we make those errors into a big deal and hold on to them and act as if we're wrong, but that's from human consciousness. Error can always be corrected. If you make an error, like you write something incorrect on a piece of paper, you can erase that error and rewrite it. And that's what it is. And that is life as well, right? Nobody is permanently bad. Even those who have done things that we judge from human consciousness as terrible always have a chance, or else they would be destroyed instantly and never be there, right? So there's always room for forgiveness. There's always room for someone to rewrite the script of life in an instant and be free to connect with that source of being. We are forever forgiven. That's really what happened. Okay? We're free in that way. Now I want to talk about just 2 ways of this forgiveness thing working. All forgiveness really does, again, is raise the vibration to a state where we're unified with Source again. So, once that purpose is fulfilled, then we're forgiven. We're back to our natural state. So there are 2 ways to achieve that. The first way is to recognize that nothing ever happened. And when I say nothing ever happened, I mean everything that takes place in form, in terms of a body doing something to another body and all of that stuff, that has to be totally forgotten. The truth has to be seen, and the truth is that, I'm going to state it as it is. I know this is something that people get iffy about, but there is an energy that is giving of itself completely to every single thing that exists. It's in and around every single thing that exists. It's there. We call it the source of being. Some call it God, some call it other things. But that energy that is giving and is conscious of itself as well, right, in relation to us, is a part of us and is expressing through and as us, through life, right? Because it is the only thing that is. So really and truly, if that is what is happening, then all that takes place in the world of form is actually that interacting with itself. So there is no one to blame. There's nothing wrong. There's absolutely nothing wrong with life. When we can recognize that and we can step into that energy and recognize that we are it, we can release ourselves from all our past errors, everything that went wrong or we thought went wrong, but it obviously went right because we're here right now and we're recognizing that we're in the source. So it served a purpose. What I'm saying is that's number 1. Recognizing that all is light, all is well, all is connected, all is united. Right? That's what Christ back in the day would put as I and my Father are one. Right? And in different religious teachings, if you are to look, you will see that there's a unification with the one source. Unification, yeah, right? With the one source. And that source is what some call the Creator, but it is within us. So when you understand that, you're forgiven instantly. It's called atonement or at-one-ment, same thing. So putting that aside, that's number 1. Number 2 is this. The other way for forgiveness is to recognize that whatever happened in the past has you right now where you are, right? And what that does is make the past relevant to your life, right? Makes the past a blessing instead of a curse. And then you accept the past. So then your vibration raises also because you're in a state of harmony related to the past. And then you can create a steady, clear future as well, based on that. Like some people were pissed off in the past because bad things happened to them, but then they can look back and say, you know, if that bad thing didn't happen, then this good thing in my life would not have happened either. And yes, it is illusion, and it is tricky, and it is kind of cheating yourself a little bit, but at the end of the day, if the mind is actually stable and believes that to be true and feels free, then yes, that person is forgiven as well. So it's not so much about the facts of whether in the human experience something happened or not. It's about the mind rising out of the human experience and not having such a strong, that experience not having such a stronghold on the mind that it's forever stuck in the past. It's released from the past. That's really what it is. So forgiveness itself is released from the past. However, you can be released from the past and feel free in the mind, free to create from that instant, you're forgiven. And that's it. So those are the 2 ways of forgiveness, right? One of them is a lot easier than the other, and that's the one of linking directly to source and recognizing that nothing has ever gone wrong, that that person over there is light, that you are light, that you are one, that you're connected, and all is connected to that. Why it's easier is because it doesn't require you to try to justify things from your past that didn't make sense, right? It's about right here, right now, and it's about present. And it introduces, in a sense, a present understanding of things that lifts you up and makes the present memory, right? Because you're using memory to remember what's here, what's present, what's now. It allows you to fully be in that, experience that, and share that. You live that. So if I had to choose, that's the one I choose, to be absolutely honest about it, and it's the one that I practice. However, the other one works as well, right? But forgiveness is useful because it clears the mind and allows you to lift yourself to the vibration of peace, unity, interconnectedness, and then you express love and experience joy. Eternal love and infinite peace.